Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I have Taylor here with me, and we're doing a deep dive on Logan Roy, the king, the mastermind behind it all, the evil, connivical, loving father. Supposedly, he says all the time how much he loves his kids. So we're gonna do a deep dive on him. We just did a trailer reaction, but we're gonna be doing deep dives on characters and stuff leading up to the 4th season. So subscribe to get all the updates, and let's go. I just want to talk about Logan.
There's so much.
So who
to talk
is
about.
Logan, Taylor? Do you want to tell us who Logan is?
Logan is the founder and CEO of media conglomerate Waystar Roy Co. and the patriarch of the Roy family.
Yes.
I'm not reading off something. I just said that right off the top of my head. But yeah, that's Logan.
And Logan has stated many times he loves, or he does this for love for his children, or something like that. He always is like, it's like a line he just spouts out all the time. It's like, does he really love his children? We're going to definitely hit that question over and over again, because we're going to talk about maybe even how he treats different kids in his family and how he loves to raise them up and tear them down, how he wants them to be successful, but if they ever get too close to him, he wants to make sure he's the most successful. He's very twisted in the way he plays games.
And, you know, people speculate that he's based off of Murdoch. I forget the guy's first name. The one who, he owns Fox.
Oh.
And like Logan, he has children who are below him in his company, but suspiciously they have not ascended to the top, and he remains at the top even as an old man.
Oh.
So we see a little bit of life imitating art there. So that kind of tells you that with Logan, and you get the sense pretty obviously that he doesn't trust his kids.
No.
That there's a distinct separation between the father role and basically any other context in work.
Yeah. Because he's the father and the boss.
Yeah, complicated.
It's very complicated, right? And it's even to the point where he literally will like promise them stuff. Like when Shiv comes over, right? Shiv comes over and he's like, he promises her like the gig, and for some reason it happens with Kendall, it happens with Roman. Like he always promises
humiliates
something,
them,
and then it never happens, and he always twists it so it's always their fault why it didn't happen. It's because you did this. It's because you did that. It's because you're not strong enough, or you're not this. And it's just like, oh, the poor kids. No wonder why Kendall's on drugs. It's just like, honestly, poor guy. Though. Who's trying to discover who he is. By the way, we're going to go more in deep dive on Kendall, though. I don't want to get into it here. We're talking about Logan. And it's so funny because his kids like either love and admire him or they want to destroy him. It's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy.
Nick, do you think that Kendall, or not Kendall, sorry. Do you think Logan wants the best for his kids?
I think he does, but he wants to I think he wants them to live life the way he did. Like he started from the ground, or probably below the ground. I mean, did he even have a father around at all? Because we know he grew up with like his uncle and his brother. There's no mention of his father ever. And I think after the therapy session, we see like marks on his back. Like he's been like whipped and beat up and stuff, like permanent damage when he was swimming. So like, And it's also interesting too when he gets aggressive with the kids. There's moments where he gets like aggressive, like physical with them, and I think the only one that actually stands up to him is Kendall. He like yo, like don't be doing that, or then he'll be like punch me, hit me. He's like very much like primal instincts when it comes to survival. Like, you know, he has to take care of himself. No one else can help him. You know, he only relies on himself. He doesn't rely on family, kids. He's unfaithful to his spouses. He likes to make fun of people's weaknesses like all the time. And I think it's just stuff to lift him up. It's whatever he can do to just put everyone down. And the relationship with his brother is pretty funky too.
Yeah. And there is some loyalty there though, because you think they hate each other, but there's a moment, I think it was last season, where the uncle has the chance to
boot him.
You know, boot him from the company, and he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Yeah. He has respect for him still. I don't know if it's because they both came from nothing, even though I think his brother's successful because of him, if my memory serves me correctly. But yeah, it's very he's such an interesting character. He really is, and it's and you kind of don't know his next step except for he's watching out for himself.
Yeah, and you know something that I thought of when I was preparing for this
Mm-hmm.
episode is reading about his, you know, background, his fictional background,
Uh
that
huh.
he was born like right before, like a month before, or right during the start of the Second World War, and he has to
Oh.
flee and they moved to Canada, so that's how he gets over on this side of the world,
Mm.
from Scotland. And it kind of made me think like he was born in war and chaos, and he just like needs that in his everyday life, even as a grown man, even as a successful man. He needs to have that conflict and like
Yeah.
chaos to like just feel normal. Like that's his norm, I think,
Yeah.
his norm
No.
setting.
Definitely hit the. Yeah. It totally is because everything's a battleground field to him.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is, and I think he only respects Kendall when he strikes. I think there was that
Mm-hmm.
moment, right? Like when Kendall finally wakes, snaps out of his like little like he was like obeying everything Logan said, and all of a sudden he's like, I have paperwork, my dad's going down, and all this. He's like said it publicly on television. He actually like smiles and approves of him. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, he
just
has a
like
smirk, huh?
it's like oh he's like oh good you're learning the art of war kind of thing. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
what? It's so twisted, and it's amazing how much his kids fear him too. And even in the newest trailer too, it's like we want them to call. It's like still, it's like they're always like dodgy. They're never like straightforward with their dad. And the only time they were straightforward was the end of the third season, and it didn't work out for them at all because they were
Yeah.
little late to the punch because of Tom. That's gonna be a topic for another deep dive. But
Yeah, because, you know, woven in all these family dynamics is money and power,
yeah,
and those are corrupting things. So, you know, it's never going to be something where, like, oh, yeah, it's my dad. Like, I'll talk to him. Like, there's always a
mm,
level of, like, 10 other things going on when
yeah,
these kids are, like, interacting with him.
it's
So,
true. Yeah, and then he almost like pits them against each other too.
oh, yeah,
So
for
like they're
sure.
never on the same team. Like, oh, I noticed they're getting too friendly. And you have Connor, but Connor's Connor, right? Like I feel like Connor because like
He's,
he grew up like with a different mother, right? And I feel like and then he mentioned a couple times like you were never around or oh that's funny like I finally get to hang out with you. It's always like this thing like he was gone for years out of Connor's
mm-hmm.
life, and it's almost like he uses that as like his way to like stay out of stuff now. It's like, he's like, hey, Mr. Peace, good loving, like I just want to do my own thing kind of thing.
I feel like that would be the ideal, is that they would all be like Connor, because I feel like Connor is the
Mm.
only one that does have like a genuine connection with him, ironically enough, even though like I don't it doesn't seem like they were that close when he was growing up.
Yeah.
Like he has that healthy distance. Like, you know, he asks for money for his campaign and his dad's like, "No, you're an idiot." And that's just like a dad, like that, I don't know, like
Yeah.
that seems kind of normal, but the other ones it's all this like work, money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more complicated with the others.
Yeah. I mean, it's to the point where he basically says to Kendall, you have to be a killer. I think he like uses that like exact word. And then like which Shiv, he basically calls her Pinky. He
Mm-hmm.
always like brings her back down to like that childhood level. And
Mm.
then Roman, I don't know, like Roman, I don't think he ever really saw Roman as taking over kind of thing. Because
Maybe he did at one point, but then he sent him a dick pic. So then that
but
train was had
yeah,
stopped.
but even before that, I feel like Roman never dug his feet in this. Like he never took a stance.
Yeah,
He
he's
he
never
was always
serious
just
enough.
like, yeah, hey, sure, I'll do whatever you want, kind of thing. And he just kind of hides
Yeah.
in the corner and kind of goes around. Where Kendall actually looked like he makes it seem like he wants the gig at times, but then he's so in his own head so much that he's so unsure about his own choices and moves, which is because of his father. But everything goes back to Logan, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's so good at creating false realities. And I don't know if it's just because he's part of a media network and his whole thing is about creating false realities where it's just like common knowledge to do false realities in his own life to his own children and stuff like that too. He
Dang.
creates these realities, and I thought about that too because this whole thing's about always having a spin, and whoever controls the media cycle controls the narrative. And I think he does the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with everyone around him. Obviously, we really see it take a toll on his kids, but it happens to Frank. Like, you name someone around them, they're definitely in that same circle. And
I
it's one.
love the detail of how they're like just calling the president and being like, no, don't do that. And the president's like, okay, cool. He has that much power.
I mean, even to the point where he was not going to let the FBI in. Remember too, like he was
Yeah.
like, he was just like, no, I'm just like, you have to let the FBI in, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately.
and even the moment too when he's like on medication and he's like losing his mind, people still think like he's in the right mind when he's making. It's just like, it's just so great. If you guys haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. We're super excited for the next season, as you can tell. Any other final thoughts before we close out this video?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I think Logan isn't going to come up on top at the end of this season. I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Clip this for a TikTok if I'm right.
He has too big of an ego. He has too big of an ego to let them win. I mean, at the end of the season, he basically sells the company to mock them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you have to be just as strong as him to beat him. And I believe the only way they can do it is if they team up, because I believe they all have little snippets of him, like the way Roman makes fun of people, to the way Kendall can betray family to get ahead. Like they all have a little bit
politics.
Yeah, they all kind of have like a little bit of what they need to create a monster named Logan. So on that note, subscribe. We're going to be covering the show here. Tell us any things we've missed or other things you would like to cover for Succession. It's such a fun show. All the politics and inner workings of the company and backstabbing and stuff. It's so good. It's the Game of Thrones of what is it called? Where the bull is?
New York? Or Wall Street?
Wall Street. Thank you. Gosh.
Manhattan.
The bear and the bull.
Yes.
So subscribe. Go to AsArt.space for audio video links and get our cool shirts. We're hopefully going to be putting some Succession shirts up there too. It's going to be super fun. Go there, subscribe. And by the way, by commenting, you're entered at the end of the month to win a shirt. So just comment and we'll read them, and we'll see you on the next AsArt.